Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mr. Clockwork Apple. Earlier this week, a trailer for a movie based on Dragon Quest V released. Dragon Quest Your Story, it's called. And let me tell you, it has got me excited. Many people would say Dragon Quest V is the best Dragon Quest game ever made. And personally, I can see where they're coming from. Some would even say it's one of the best JRPGs ever made. So of course, having a movie adaptation, you know, I'm hyped for it already. We've had like a minute-and-a-half long trailer and I'm looking forward to it. So I've decided I'm basically going to look at the trailer and just see if I can't come up with any little details using my knowledge from the game just to figure out what we're being shown here. I'm going to be using the names, the default names from the game, the English release that is. I know sometimes there are other names from fan translations and I think there was a manga adaptation, but I'm going to be using the names from this one. And also, I'm going to be spoiling a lot of the story because, well, I have to talk about the game properly based on what they're showing us in the trailer. But first, I'm going to give you a quick rundown of just roughly what happens in this game. The game's central premise is that it follows the adventures of a young man named Madison. And not just for one adventure, though, but for pretty much the first 30 years of his life. The opening cutscene shows basically when he was born. The first act of the game takes place when he's 6 years old. He's going on an adventure with his father, looking for something. Not quite explained what he's looking for yet, but he's looking for something. During his adventure, his father gets murdered by an evil cult known as the Order of Zugzwang, who for some reason obsess over chess motifs of all things. Madison gets captured and put into slavery for 10 years, and Madison manages to escape from the evil cult and starts searching for the legendary gear of the Chosen One, so that he can rescue his mother from the underworld, who his father had told him about with his dying breath. Partway through his adventure, Madison has the choice of getting married to one of two women, 3 in the DS version, but I'm just going to stick to the basic 2. He has the choice of Bianca Whittaker, his childhood friend, or Nera Briscoletti, the daughter of a rich businessman. Shortly after, Madison discovers he's actually the long-lost prince of a kingdom named Gotha. And basically, he gets to be king. Now, because he's turned up, he's come home. Shortly after that, his chosen wife gives birth to twins and is then kidnapped by the Order of Zugzwang. Madison runs off to save her, only to get basically ambushed and turned into a statue for 8 years. This guy does not have good luck. After the 8 years are up, his 2 children arrive and basically unpetrify him, and it reveals that it's actually his own son was the chosen one he was looking for. That's why he couldn't find him, he hadn't been born yet. And so they go out, they rescue his wife, and essentially set off to head to the underworld and take down the Order of Zugzwang. So that's the very basic plot of this game. So now I'm going to look at the trailer and just see what stacks up compared to, well, this. The trailer opens on what looks to be Rodrigo Briscoletti's ship, the same ship that the game starts on, but looking at the sky, there seems to be something floating in the distance. I think this is probably the villain's headquarters, whose name I can't remember, meaning this scene is probably later into the film rather than at the beginning. The next scene looks like the cave where the hero finds the legendary Zenithian sword that we can see here. We can just about see the hero Madison quite far into the cave. The hero is travelling with his pet saber cat, a blue slime, and someone that looks to be Bianca Whittaker. This suggests to me the two scenes aren't actually in the same cave, because in the game, Madison finds the sword when travelling with Prince Harry, long before reuniting with either Bianca or Saber. The third scene shows us a snowy plain, giving us our first good look at Madison. He's got a sword strapped to his back. This seems to be his father's old sword, something that we see more of later in the trailer. He's also carrying his signature oak staff as well, which is the weapon used in his official artwork. He's looking pretty emotional right in this scene. The only snow area I can think of where this scene could happen are the mountains above the Kingdom of Gotha. The only other scene with snow in the game takes place in the fairy realm, but that only happens when Madison is a child, and he's looking quite grown up in this scene, so I'm going to assume it's the mountains. This scene probably takes place right after his wife gets kidnapped. We get a better look at Madison here, and, well, I don't really like this design for him. Madison in his official artwork is muscular as hell and wears a near permanent scowl on his face. Considering what he's been through, I don't blame him. This baby-faced teen doesn't really match up to me. He looks more like he belongs in Dragon Quest VII's art style rather than V's. In fact, I can just stick a low-budget Link outfit on him and you've basically got Oster. His design doesn't seem to change as the film progresses, and I don't really dislike this design, I just don't like it as much as his original. It might grow on me though, who knows. Next we see a clip of Madison and his monster buddies looking out over a city. Not sure which one though, it could be Gotha, but I can't tell. The next two scenes show Madison facing off against some baddies. Here we can once again see him using his father's sword. The next scene we see him holding but not using the Zenithian blade. In the game it's explained that only the Chosen One can wield the blade and that Madison isn't the Chosen One. If he tries to draw the sword it becomes too heavy for him and he basically can't hold it. We follow up with a nice shot of young Madison sitting by a fire with his father and a young version of his pet saber cat. Pankraz is looking pretty good here, by the way. I like his design, it's very similar to the game. Comparing the pommel of the sword he's wearing to the one Madison has been using confirms it as being the same sword. This shot is probably the Order of Zugzwang's base. It definitely looks too evil to be Castle Zenithia. Here we're treated to a shot of what's probably Madison and Prince Harry escaping from slavery in a barrel. This happens in the game too, but in the game there is a third person named Maria escaping with them. Doesn't look like she's here though. It also looks like Harry has his green hair like in the game. It's a bit dark in the barrel so I can't be certain, but I'm pretty sure there's a slight greenish tint there. This is our first clear look at Bianca Whittaker, followed by Nero Briscoletti. Both look more or less like their artwork, so I've got no complaints here. This next scene is the fight against Bjorn the Behemoth. Though an optional fight in the game, it was a highly memorable moment, so it makes sense that they'd include it in the film. I don't know what this is meant to be. It looks like Madison dropping a staff of some sort. I can't really tell what staff it's meant to be, so I don't really know about this scene. This scene is probably Pankraz's death scene. A very emotional moment in the game, and very important for Madison's character development. Well, this scene is just funny, so I don't know what to say about this one. Now we get a shot of who I'm guessing is meant to be Bishop Ladja. Bishop Ladja isn't the game's main villain, but he is the one who Madison has the most beef with, since he's the guy that killed Pankraz. He's looking nice and deranged here. Unfortunately, Grandmaster Nimzo, the game's main villain, we don't actually see in the trailer. I imagine he'll show up in the film itself, but we can't tell just yet. Finally, we get a shot of what looks to be the Zenith Dragon taking to the skies. Again, no complaints. This shot here is probably Madison casting the spell Kaswoosh. Madison in the game favours wind magic after all. Combined with the scene after, it appears that this is Madison battling against Ladja. I don't know who this knight is. It might be Prince Harry, or it could be a reference to the optional character Tuppence, who is also a knight. It isn't clear though. We zoom for a few action shots. The only thing of note here is this ship being launched through the air. I don't quite know why it's being launched though. We also get a clip of Bjorn breaking free from his imprisonment and one more shot of Madison fighting Ladja. Dragon Quest, your story. We finish on the film's title, complete with the classic Dragon Quest logo and the subtitle, Your Story. The fact the title is written in English rather than Japanese makes me hopeful for an English release of the film. Who knows, we might get lucky. The backwards R in the word story probably references the game's final boss, Grandmaster Nimzo, who spoke using a Cyrillic font in reference to the Russian chess grandmaster, Aaron Nimzovich, who he's named after. This detail was only in the English version of the game, again pointing that we might get an English release of the film. Finally, we got what's probably the release date, the 2nd of August, which according to my calendar is indeed a Friday. So that was the trailer, and I got to say, it looks good. It looks like it's sticking to the game fairly closely with lots of little details, but there's still a few things we haven't seen yet. There's a few characters we didn't see in the trailer, characters like Sancho, Maria, or the hero's kids, who we can actually see on the box here in the background. There's also a few events, such as the heading into the realm of the fairies, which weren't shown in the trailer. I know it was only a minute and a half long, and to be honest, that scene probably will be cut from the film just to save time. But from what I have seen, it looks pretty good. I am really excited. I'm hoping for an official English release, which I know I said the title screen implies we might get one, but knowing my luck, we won't. It will just stay Japanese. In that case, I'm more than willing to wait for a fan sub, because I'm going to be watching this anyway. All we can do is wait. I have been Mr. Clockwork Apple. Goodbye.